Okay, welcome everyone to our 7th session on the Heart Sutra series. So before we begin the talk, again, let's recite the Heart Sutra together. We don't need to recite the whole thing, but we can recite what we have studied so far. So we can bring our hands together. 观自在 Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, while dwelling deeply in the practice of Prajnaparamita, clearly saw that all the 5 skandhas are empty, thus transcending all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no different from emptiness. Emptiness is no different from form. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. The same is true for feelings, perceptions, volitional formations, and consciousness. Shariputra, the nature of all dharmas is emptiness. No arising, no ceasing. No impurity, no purity. No increase, no decrease. Thus in emptiness there is no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no volitional formations or consciousness. No eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, or mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharmas. And today, last week, no realm of the I up to no realm of the consciousness. No ignorance and also no ending of ignorance up to no aging and death, and also no ending of aging and death. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at today. This is the text. So we have already studied almost more than half of the Heart Sutra. If you miss any of the lectures, you can watch my video on YouTube. Hai Hui Shan AU usually is 1 week behind, and we will upload the video there. And so last week we already talked about this, the 18 realms, the 12 links of dependent origination. Last week was quite a difficult lecture. And today we're going to look at this. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. What does that mean? So first of all, anyone has any idea of what this means? What this is talking about? So in Buddhism, do we talk about suffering? Yes. Do we talk about the cause of suffering? Do we talk about the cessation of suffering? Do we talk about a path that can end suffering? What is it called? Very good. And this is actually about the Four Noble Truths. Okay? So let's look at the Four Noble Truths in Buddhism. This is like fundamentals in Buddhism. Buddhism 101 are the most basic teachings by the Buddha. After the Buddha attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, and after he came out from the perfect enlightenment, he walked to the path of Sana, the deer park, and this was the first Dharma he preached, the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. So if you are a Buddhist, you're studying Buddhism, this is like a must know. Okay, so let's look at what the Buddha said about the Four Noble Truths. Why they call the Four Noble Truths? What do you think? Yes, it is definitely real, right? They're definitely noble truths. So what's the first of the Four Noble Truths? There is suffering, dukkha, Sanskrit or Pali. Dukkha means suffering. So there is definitely suffering in life, right? What kind of suffering?
Birth, stress, death,
and
desires, attachment.
Yeah, so the Buddha talked about the 8 types of suffering. First, old age, sickness, death, not to get what you want, to be separated from loved ones, and the suffering of the 5 skandhas. Anyone still remember the 5 skandhas when we talk about the Heart Sutra a few lectures back? What are the 5 skandhas? What are the
perceptions?
Feelings. So the 5 skandhas refers to our physical and mental components. The physical is the form, everything we see, we touch, and then we have the feelings, perceptions, mental formations, volitional formations, and consciousness. Okay, so it's the suffering of both the physical and mental. Can we agree there are this kind of suffering in life? Yeah, according to the Buddha, correct? Why is birth suffering? So there is a sutra called Entry into the Womb Sutra. In the sutra, the Buddha described by extremely detailed the baby living condition inside the mother's womb. Right? Not very ideal. And when the baby came out from such a tiny hole, it's like, he's going through this pressing mountain hell. Right? So very extremely torture and suffering also for the baby and for the mother. Right? The Buddha in the sutra said, the pain of giving birth for the mother. If 10 being the greatest, it's a 10 for the mother. So really, birth also has a lot of suffering. And of course, because there is birth, there's going to be old age, sickness, death, and all the suffering that come along with it. Okay? So this, objectively, we say, yes, there is suffering in life, the 8 types of suffering. What's the second noble truth?
Cause of suffering.
Okay, what's the cause of suffering?
Attachment.
Yeah, very good. It's our craving, it's our attachment. Right? Why attachment or craving will create suffering?
You want more, and then you'll strive. You'll do anything.
What else? What else?
Oh, everything is impermanent.
Yeah, very good. Because it's impermanent. Everything is transient, fleeting, correct? So even if you get it, so what? You're gonna lose it again in the future, right? I mean, you say even if you married forever, love forever, whatever. How long is forever in this world? What do you think? What's our average lifespan?
100.
I don't think a lot of people actually get to live up to 100. No, maybe 70, 80. Yeah. So forever in this world is at most 80 years, okay, but less. So there will definitely be separation from loved ones. And if you have desire craving, of course, there could be circumstances of not getting what you want. A lot of times we don't get what we want. So the root cause of suffering is actually our craving, our attachment. Okay, this is the Buddha's first teaching after he attained perfect enlightenment. In the human world, this is his first teaching. And luckily, the Buddha didn't stop here. Right? Sometimes people think, you Buddhists are so pessimistic, so passive. Why you guys keep talking about suffering all the time? And the Buddha keeps on going to say what? Good news. Yeah, there's the cessation of suffering. The Buddha didn't just stop at, okay, there is suffering, and there's the cause of suffering. The Buddha keeps on going on. There is actually, the suffering can be ended, can be ceased. Okay, so that's good news for us. The first 2 one, not so good news. But the third one, there's hope. And the final one, what did the Buddha say?
Path. The cessation.
Okay, what's the path?
No.
Huh?
No path.
That's on the highest truth. Later, we're going to talk about that in Heart Sutra. That's also right. But what's the path the Buddha talk about here in his first sermon? Yeah, the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, the Buddha said suffering can be ended. How do you think the suffering can be ended? How we cannot suffer anymore?
When we don't get attached.
Very good, because the attachment is the root cause of suffering, right? If you can sever the attachment, you can transcend all suffering. Is it difficult? Extremely difficult, right? We're going to have attachment with our body and all that. That's why here we practice Nearful meditation, recite the name of Amitabha Buddha, and with the hope to attain rebirth in his Pure Land. If you go to the Pure Land, you don't need to sever all your attachment. You can bring your attachment there to the Pure Land. You can think of the Pure Land as a very ideal environment or university for cultivating Buddhism, to get your PhD in Buddhism. So here we cannot rely on our self-effort to get rid of attachment. Even if you try really hard, I tried really hard before. I also tried to be like the Buddha sitting under the tree for like 49 days. And I tell you, you cannot get rid of your attachment by your self-effort, particularly at this age. This age in Buddhism is called the Dharma ending age, where the Buddha entered parinirvana, 2,000 years, more than 2,000 years. This is the time when people become so afflicted, the minds are so scattered. it's even more difficult for us to cultivate meditation or anything like that. Even more difficult for us to let go of all our attachment. So in this age, it's recommended people practice the Pure Land path to recite Amitofo, Amitabha Buddha, and with the help, the compassionate vow of Amitabha Buddha to receive us to his Pure Land. This is called the easy path out of samsara. Samsara means reincarnation. The Buddha's teachings can be categorized into two paths. Okay, Buddha taught many different techniques, practices. They can be broadly categorized into two categories. First, it's called a difficult path. Second is called the easy path. All the other practices, like the Chen meditation, like Theravada, like Tibetan Buddhism, like all these practices can be called a difficult path because you have to rely on your self-effort to cut off all your attachment in order to transcend samsara. By cutting off all your attachment, you are not a Buddha yet. You are only what's called an arahant, okay, or arhat. This is a fruit of enlightenment for a very basic level of enlightenment. By primary school of enlightenment, you cut off all your attachment, you can exit samsara, but you're not yet a Buddha. A Buddha is much higher level of enlightenment. You need to cut off all your attachment, delusions, separation, like everything, ignorance, to be a Buddha. So, extremely difficult to actually rely on our self-effort to cut off all attachment. And that's why the Buddha also offered the easy path to rely on the compassionate vow of Amitabha Buddha to first migrate our consciousness to his Pure Land. In the Buddha field, right? This is where we can actually expediently progress towards the path of perfect enlightenment. It is like you can either swim across the Pacific Ocean entirely by your self-effort, which you may drown halfway through, or you can take on the boat offered by Amitabha Buddha to go to the other shore. Or it's like you can walk all the way to Rome, which you might just be so tired and you give up halfway through, or you can take the direct flight of Amitabha Buddha to Rome. Yes. Or it's like you can climb all the stairs, like 100th floor by yourself. Again, you will be so exhausted and you might want to give up halfway through. Or you can go into the lift provided by Amitabha Buddha and press 100th floor, and boom, you are there to the 100th floor. Okay? So this is called an easy path, but also difficult to believe. A lot of people, even including some Buddhists, they have some doubts about Amitabha Buddha and the Pure Land. Is it real? I'm telling you, this is definitely real because this practice has been in China for more than 1,600 years. And since ancient China, talking about Asian, like 1,600 years ago, people already practiced the method. They recite Amitabha Buddha, and at the time of their death, they saw the Buddha coming to receive them when they were still very aware and conscious, and they tell other people, now I saw the Buddha, I'm going with the Buddha to his Pure Land. And there are many what's called rebirth cases like this. I recorded down since ancient time till nowadays. I also share some of them on my YouTube channel, Pure Land Buddhism. For those who are interested, we are also translating a lot of these rebirth cases from Chinese to English and to make it accessible to more people. Okay, so the first teaching, the Buddha talked about the Noble Eightfold Path. What's the Noble Eightfold Path, anyone? So basically, this is the Four Noble Truths. Okay, there's the truth of suffering, the origin of suffering, the cause of suffering, it's our attachment, craving, and the cessation of suffering, and the path that leads to liberation. So let's look at the Noble Eightfold Path. What are they?
Right view, right intentions, right speech, right actions.
This is a difficult one to memorize. So first of all, you need to have the right view. What's the right view? Yeah, you believe in the Four Noble Truths. You believe in the law of karma. You believe in the Buddhist teaching. You believe there is reincarnation. There is samsara. It's not just one life, YOLO. That's what's called the wrong view. Okay. And people will be like, how do you believe in reincarnation? What do you think? Do people here believe in reincarnation? Raise your hand if you do. Yeah, why?
I mean, That's what I've been told in my religion. So
Yeah. So we look at people at inception, since birth, how we are all different, right? We're not talking about later, but at the beginning, from when we came out of the mother's womb, we are all very different. Our looks are different. Our level of intelligence are different. Our family, the wealth, the amount of wealth, prestige, social status, everything are different, right? Do you think God is so unfair to give someone like so pretty and the other so not so pretty, to give wealth to someone and no wealth to others, or even to make the person disability, like disabled, at inception, since birth? No, right? If there is God, God has to be very fair, compassionate, equal to all, love for all. Right? So Buddha said, it's not that God created us like this or different, but it's because of our karma. Karma means what? Intention acting through body, speech, and mind. Because of our accumulated good and evil karma, the good and evil deeds we have done in the past resulted our situation in the present. Right? So, in a way, who creates our life? Yes, it's ourselves. To be more specific, it's what? What part of yourself? Yeah, it's the mind, right? You have the thoughts and then acting through the intention, acting through body, speech, and mind. And this is what's called the karma. And then you are actually the result of your own karma. So when we encounter maybe an ideal situation, should we complain so much? Why?
because it's due to us, it's linked to us. Because we must have done something in the past.
Very good. It's our karma, right? Maybe someone, they saw you for the first time, they really don't like you, and maybe they even verbally abuse you. Should you complain? Why? You guys are very good, very kind. Why? Yes, maybe in the past we could have done the same thing to others. So then again, things come back to us. Okay? So don't complain. Try to be mindful, for Amitabha, transform our mind. Okay? And second is the right intention or right resolve. And what's the right intention? It's once you establish the right view, of course you need to have the intention to follow the Buddha's teaching, to follow the right path, the right teaching. And third is the right speech. What's considered as the right speech?
Speaking harsh words.
What else?
No.
4 types.
The divisive speech.
Yeah, very good. So no lying, no divisive speech. What's divisive speech?
When your words break up the relationship.
Yeah, very good. And no harsh speech, no frivolous speech. What's frivolous speech?
Gossip.
Yeah, meaningless speech. Okay. And next is right conduct or right actions. What are considered as the right conduct? The 3 bodily actions, the basic ones.
No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, there could be other also, right conduct, but these are the basic ones. Right livelihood. Fifth, what's considered a right livelihood?
Not conducting in any business that harms you and other people.
Yeah, very good. For instance, trading in weapons, living beings, meat, liquor, poisons. Okay. And the 6th is right effort. What's right effort? Want to read out? Someone want to read out on the PowerPoint?
Preventing the arising of unwholesome states and generating wholesome states, guarding the sense doors.
Yeah, we talk about we have the 6 senses, right? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind, consciousness. So it's important we guard the senses and try to refrain the unwholesome states to arise and to generate wholesome states. The 7th is right mindfulness. So in order to have the right mindfulness, you need to have right effort. If you don't have right effort, it's difficult, right? If you want to attain some kind of a practice, you need to put into the effort. So the right mindfulness is like you are being aware of your mind. And like here we're cultivating the Namo meditation. This can also help us to expand our awareness, expand our consciousness. Sometimes people say, why I feel when I Namo, I have so many thoughts going on in your mind. Do you think when this person is not Namo, he or she still has a lot of thoughts going on in his or her mind? Yes. But maybe he or she is not aware. We are not aware of how many sort of rubbish that are going on in our mind in our daily life. And we're often, being taken away by our thoughts. But when we begin to practice the meditation, all of a sudden we become aware, oh, wow, all these flying thoughts. But it's okay, you don't need to get away with them. You also don't need to resist your thoughts. You're simply being aware. Okay, you don't need to fight against any thoughts. Meditation is not about not thinking. This is wrong. It's about non-attachment. Okay, that is the essence of meditation. You're just being like a third party. Watch your thoughts, all these thoughts going on like a monkey mind jumping up and down, that's fine. But you have a focal point on Amitabha. With this meditation, this is our focal point, to focus like on a mantra, like Amitabha. Or, in other practice like Vipassana, they can focus on their breath or wherever. All this meditation is about establish a focal point, just single pointedness, one pointedness, so you're not being driven away by all these thoughts. Once you got the right mindfulness, if you keep on going, you practice for very, very hard, diligently, you will have what's called the right samadhi. Samadhi means meditative concentration. This single pointed focus. It's called the right samadhi. There's also Namo samadhi. What's Namo samadhi? So there are many different types of samadhi. It depends on the practice you use, and you can add the name, the practice, Namo and samadhi. Namo samadhi is like in all the moments of your mind, you always have this single pointed focus on Amitabha. This is what's called Namo samadhi. Of course, maybe when you use your logical mind to deal with other things, you can deal with other things. But after that, quickly again, you come back to Amitabha. So your mind is always in this single-minded focus, and it's a very blissful experience. Of course, we need to actually experience it to do that. Okay. And this I want to say: when one attains samadhi, one is not necessarily enlightened yet, but samadhi is a pre-stage for anyone who want to attain enlightenment. Okay? If you don't have samadhi, you cannot be enlightened. But if you have samadhi, it may not mean you are enlightened. Because enlightenment, you need to let go of all attachment. But when you have maybe very deep samadhi and you let go of all the attachment, that's when you become enlightened. Okay? This is a pre-stage. So again, this is the Noble Eightfold Path. Yes. Any questions? No? Okay. So why here in the Heart Sutra it says no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path? Like what Axel said, why? Remember the Heart Sutra is about what?
Emptiness.
Yeah, so impermanence and emptiness, they're not equal. Because it's empty, so then there is impermanence, okay? So they're not equal. Because the Heart Sutra, it's all about emptiness. What's emptiness?
Everything is not fixed or doesn't have a fixed essence.
Yeah. So nothing has a fixed essence, nature attached to it. So everything is constantly changing. So in emptiness, here is saying no suffering, no. Why? Remember what's no in Heart Sutra? No means what?
Nothing lasts forever.
So no means no attachment. Okay, in Heart Sutra, you read no eyes, no ears, no. It doesn't mean that there are no eyes, ears, nose. We have clearly eyes, ears, nose. But it says no attachment. You need to add attachment. Okay, so no attachment of the eyes, ears, nose. In emptiness, there's not such attachment. In emptiness, similarly, when one has realized emptiness, one transcends all suffering. So in emptiness, there's also no this attachment of suffering, cause of suffering. If you don't have suffering, you don't have the cause of suffering, right? If you are someone who can realize emptiness, which means that you can see the essence of all things, which is empty of inherent existence, which means there is no fixed nature that attached to anything. If you have this actually realization, deep embodiment, you will not suffer. You can already transcend all suffering. So from this ultimate reality, there is no attachment to this suffering. Remember, we talk about the suffering we have. What are the sufferings here? Yeah, first thing is old age, know this. If you realize emptiness, will you be attached to the body? No. So it doesn't matter if there is old age, death to this body. Doesn't matter whatever happens to this body, you're not attached. We're talking about the highest level. If you realize an emptiness, it's like you are a Buddha already. This is the highest level of wisdom and enlightenment. Extremely difficult. From the highest level perspective, because one has no attachment to all of this, so one also has no attachment to the so-called suffering. So the Four Noble Truths and Noble Eightfold Paths, they are what's called a relative truth. They're relative truth for unenlightened beings. They are the objective truth for us. But for enlightened beings, there's no such thing. Okay? They can transcend all suffering, so this is not an issue for them. Any questions?
What does it mean by relative and objective truth?
Relative, it's like, how Buddha said the Four Noble Truths, it clearly has the truth in it.
Right.
But this is not the ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they still can be called relative truth for unenlightened beings. So the Buddha talked differently to people with different mind, the different state, different roots, preferences, capacities. For us, of course, the Four Noble Truths stay true. The Noble Eightfold Path is relevant. But from the ultimate, perfect enlightened perspective, all this is, no suffering, no such attachment. Okay? Yeah, that's actually the absolute truth. Yes. Here, we can call here, it's like a relative reality. Not really actually, for us, this is very real, right? If it's real, we are like in a reality. This is our reality, but actually, from like the perfect enlightened being, this is like not actually the ultimate reality. Yes. This is not really. This is what's called illusion. But even for people who realize emptiness, everywhere they go, they embody this in the highest absolute truth. So in a way, everywhere they go, it's the ultimate reality. But here actually, relatively speaking, this is an illusion. But even illusion and nirvana, they are not separate. This is unspeakable, undescribable. Okay? Yes. So ultimate reality, from the perspective of emptiness, no suffering, here means no such attachment. Because of no suffering, of course, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. Good. Thank you, Amitabha. Or maybe we do a merit transfer. Okay, so may all beings
Be
happy.
Be happy.
And free from suffering. May all beings hear the unsurpassed Dharma. And attain rebirth. In the land of ultimate bliss. May all beings realize Buddhahood. Namo Fundamental Teacher. Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Namo Guan Shi Yin菩萨. Thank you, Amitabha.